Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would be jumping on the bandwagon and talking about, you know it, Landman. The show that everyone in the oil and gas industry and people outside of the oil and gas industry are still talking about. Before we get to the content, please be sure to like this video, subscribe so you can get more content in oil and gas and professional development topics, and please be sure to comment on the video below so I can incorporate your feedback into future videos. Please be sure to hit that notification bell when you do subscribe, because I try to upload once every week, but that obviously has not been working out. Well, let's get to the content. So let me start talking about the show Landman if you have not seen it, and there's going to be a lot of spoiler alerts on it. Well, the show Landman talks about, Billy Bob Thornton and his journey in developing assets in West Texas. Well, really, it's a bunch of workovers, a bunch of old rod pumps. The truth is, he's doing a lot more of a responsibility than what a landman job description is in the oil and gas industry. I can go more into that later on in the video, but I do want to say that if you set your expectations extremely low on accuracy and you set your entertainment expectations pretty high, I think you're going to enjoy the show. Because to be honest with you, I spent a very long time being reluctant to watching Landman. Everyone kept talking about it. Everyone kept saying how fun it is or how inaccurate it is. And I thought this was going to be another one of those documentaries from Hollywood saying how bad the oil and gas industry is. But it was not what I expected. And I'll give you some points as to why I say it wasn't as expected for me. So be prepared for the stream of consciousness that's about to happen as I progress through all 10 episodes and not clarifying what happened in which episode to bring some mystery and encourage you to watch the season 1 for yourself of Landman. So let me start off by talking about what I really liked about the show from a petroleum engineer's perspective. Well, or even from a person, who's watching it that's not an actor in Hollywood. The first thing I liked about the show is the entertainment aspect. For example, Billy Bob Thorntonisms, his quick remarks, his hero caricature throughout the entire show, and honestly, the dynamics that happen within his family are really hilarious. And his own lawyer is also very hilarious. His petroleum engineer, who honestly is like a worksite supervisor on location, is really funny. I could have made a list or made a tally mark of everything that was inaccurate about the show, but I didn't think that would be productive to the conversation. So I want to start off by what I really liked about the show. What I also liked about the show, one thing in particular, is the monologue that Billy Bob Thornton has when speaking to Rebecca Falcone, the lawyer that was hired on by the company. And she had a lot of doubts about the oil and gas industry, it being a dangerous industry, how green energy is going to take over, and all those things. Billy Bob Thornton, and I'm not even calling him by Tommy Norris, the character of the show. I'm just going to call him Billy Bob Thornton. He starts off on his monologue on the importance of oil and gas and how oil and gas is very entrenched in our day-to-day lives, including those who are against the oil and gas industry. And I think that monologue is very important for people that are outside of the oil and gas industry who have something against it to be educated on to some extent. So I thought that was pretty helpful. I also thought what was interesting about the oil and gas and about the show Landman is the dynamics of everything and how sensationalized some of the stuff is. It's just fun to watch, and there's just a lot of cliffhangers that are a part of it. But I really like the fact that it was not showing the oil and gas industry as fossil fuels are the devil, fossil fuels are this, fossil fuels are that. Rather, there was some level of importance to showing how Midland, Texas is helping fuel the world to some extent. So that's pretty much it of what I liked about the show Landman. Now I'm going to talk about some of the things I wish Landman did, or what I wish I saw in the show. Something tells me in the stream of consciousness as I'm winging it in as usual when it comes to these videos that this is going to be a little bit longer than what I liked about the show Landman. Yes, it's a very entertaining show, and I can't wait until the second season. But one thing I didn't like about the show is the fact that there was the subject of cartels. I mean, like, just save that for Narcos. Save that for another Netflix show that a lot of people are really obsessed about. I know for one, as a petroleum engineer, did not deal with that much drama on location whenever there was, if there was a cartel. Or there was never a cartel. I never had to deal with anyone from the cartel. That's what I'm trying to say. So having that be a part of everything makes me realize that maybe people that are outside of the industry like are questioning, is the oil and gas industry as dangerous as Landman portrays it to be? And the answer is no, not in the way that you think, not in the subject of cartels. The other thing was the safety aspect of everything. I understand that oil and gas, that was a small oil and gas company that they show, but some people have the lack of PPE. I mean, a lot of people getting hurt. The first episode starts out with a blowout that happens at a rod pump. Makes the show a lot more dangerous than how the oil and gas industry it actually is. You know, my husband and I were laughing a lot in terms of what kinds of oil field drama that we've actually experienced on location, and it's nowhere near to what Landman shows it as. So I'm sure that there are roustabouts that beat each other up due to some internal strife. I'm sure there are people. Yeah, people do cuss up a storm. You know, like the language that roustabouts use or roughnecks use. I can't control that, but I wouldn't say that people use very clean language on location. I'll say that for sure. But then again, all my words are my own, all my thoughts are my own, and not based on any of the associations that I'm with. And I will say that the show also, one thing I really didn't like about the show was the fact that there were just some snippets that were in Midland, Texas, but most of the show was filmed in Fort Worth. So I really wish that there was a lot more things that were filmed in Midland, just to give you a feel of, first of all, there's not that many trees how Landman shows it. There's probably a lot more trees in Fort Worth. But there's not that many trees in Midland because a lot of the scenery that you see, other than the rod pumps, a lot of the scenery that you see is a bunch of trees when people are driving. But you'll understand what I mean when you watch the show. So those are some of the things that I didn't really like about the show. How dangerous they make oil and gas seem to be, how sensationalized they make it seem to be. So I don't know how blurred those lines are when people are thinking about the show and trying to portray it to. Is that how the oil and gas industry, is it how dangerous the oil and gas industry is? Like, do people deal with folks of the cartel every single day? Mm-mm. And the safety aspect, of course, I wish there was better safety measures that were held for that particular company, but I think that's what made the show as entertaining as it is, or as dramatic as it is. So, and then the other inaccuracy, I have to point out this inaccuracy, is that there was an episode where Billy Bob Thornton's son in the show was showing his girlfriend about unconventional reservoirs in the Wolfcamp Shale, and he shows the map of everything and where the shale is located. That map was inaccurate, I would say. I would have to claim that map is inaccurate. And then the timeline at which there's development, because they set the show, I believe, in 2023 or 2024, but they're making it seem like unconventional reservoir development is more of a recent thing in 2024 as opposed to, no, this stuff was happening in the Barnett since 2008. So the timeline at which unconventional reservoir development became a thing is something that I would like to point out as an inaccuracy, and also what I didn't like about Landman. Some of this stuff is nitpicky as a petroleum engineer, but honestly, I can't argue with the fact that it was a very entertaining show. After, when my husband would turn off the TV, I'm like, why can't we binge watch this entire season already? And my husband and I really enjoyed Landman. Let's just put it that way. Well, folks, that's everything that I wanted to talk about with respect to the Landman show. Obviously, it's not a show that you think that is an accurate portrayal of the oil and gas industry or for petroleum engineers. I would say that our lives are a lot more boring than that. There's some drama that happens in the field, but it's not what you think. Sometimes a drunk person gets on location and starts a fight, and honestly, that's just the funniest thing in the world, but safety comes first. So with that being said, please be sure to like this video, subscribe so you can get more content on oil and gas and professional development topics, and please be sure to comment on the video below so I can incorporate your feedback into future videos. This is Yoshi Pradhan, or Yoga Shri Pradhan. I'm signing off.